Good afternoon, America, with the messenger of Third Eye Knowledge. It's been a while since I've been on because, number one, there's a lot of division, and politics is a bad topic, and it's just a lot's going on negatively. So I decided to go check out my commentary, check out all the links that all of you have left me. And one actually I watched, it was in particular, was today, January 12th. The Damage Report with John Iadarola. I always forget the other one's name that always comes on, and he, very intelligent kid, very informative, and very on point with the fact that there may be no coming back from this in America. In terms of politics, economy, the racism, the division, the targeted poverty, and the fact that we have a massive issue with the domestic terrorist group known as Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, and every other group attached to these militias. Let's look at what led up to this. Number one, nobody is born following authority. Nobody's born on a political side. Nobody's born to hate another person for their color or culture. You're born pure, right? Of course. You're conditioned that way. You're raised that way. Some of us. Me, on the other hand, I always manage to have my own perception, my own opinion, my own thoughts, my own beliefs, my own principles, my own morals. One of the last of this dying breed. That's an independent thinker, an individual human being. They can't be influenced unless I find this suitable for the person, the type of person I am. None of this is suited for me. I don't believe in that. I believe in a higher way of living. I believe in a better way of living. I believe in different things that 90% of you in this country wouldn't even understand, because that's not what mainstream media, social media has taught you to and conditioned you to believe. Now, when I'm speaking to the American people, I want you to put your political ideology aside, your religious beliefs, and listen to this shit. On January 20th, there is something going to happen. But what is it that's going to happen? We don't know. But there's one thing that we do know now, is that into the core of our government there is corruption beyond your wildest imaginations. Some things that were mentioned on the Damage Report today with John Iadarola was this. We hope that the military will do something about it in the reserves. That's not going to happen. And I'll tell you why right now. Political corruption goes into all branches of government, whether it's defense, whether it's treasury, whether it's etc. Everything that goes with our government at the highest level, the federal government, there's corruption in all departments. Now, another thing that they mentioned was there's now going to be a Trump at every level of government. That's up to us. Are you going to sit back and allow it? Or are you going to fight it? And the way that we've been fighting for this political injustice for 20, 30 years now is not going to do it anymore. We have to start thinking higher, stronger, and broader. America, we got 40% of our country laying in a coffin because of a pandemic that, unfortunately, due to lack of action and proper leadership, has gotten wildly out of control. On top of it affecting every aspect of everyday life. And we're still sitting in our homes, some of us, or sitting at our jobs talking to our fellow co-workers and looking at the shit that's going on here. This country's government and political ideology is not working. Two-party systems are going to end up disastrous. Colonial and conservative government. Democrats, how can you blame a political perspective as the Democrat when you don't have democracy? Democracy is supposed to be a two-party system. These two parties, they're supposed to sit up there, write the legislation and policy, and then send it on down to state and local level governments. Again, an idea. It starts from solely an idea. Goes down to the state and local level government. They're supposed to pass it out to the people. We go, yeah or nah. And it goes right the fuck back to Washington, hits the damn round table, and then it's supposed to get back to work and write legislation and policy that the people will agree with. That hasn't happened in years. What about the police reform? You didn't get police reform. I read that fucking document. It's the same shit with the paragraphs and everything that's supposed to be for this reform in different places. It's the same fucking shit. Go read it. But 40% of you want to start these little ragtag crews and go around terrorizing people because your little precious leader is being removed from office. This is exactly why not only he's being removed from office, but if you would listen for a second and put your fucking guns down, you'll figure it out. He's a danger to society. He cannot function as a public serviceman. He cannot function at any executive level or with any executive responsibilities. He's abolished and broken every single principle, moral, as well as right and civil liberty via the Constitution for 4 years going. He's banned from Twitter because he's causing mass chaos and possible anarchy and destruction. Your so-called leader is an unfit human being that cannot do the services that are requested of President of the United States any further. So he is being removed because he's a fucking imbecile. That's that. All I wanted to say to the American people was if you don't start focusing on your people, you individually and your people and your communities very quickly, making sure all your necessities and everything that you need to function as a community is present and accessible, that could be disastrous. What's coming down the barrel is what's known as a governmental collapse. The Republican Party is highly corrupted. And there's probably corruption, most likely. No, there is corruption on the Democratic side too. So what needs to be done is we the people need to function as our own power in communities across the nation. This is getting dangerous, but it needs to be said anyway to preserve our society. If you have state and local level government that's not abiding by the needs and requests of the people in your community, you have every right under the Constitution to lawfully assemble, draw up policy and legislation that you and your people in your community and your families will agree with. Make sure that you can do your own. Function on your own. You have access to Amazon, Stop and Shop online, Walmart online. I'm talking some serious organizations, so listen here. And make sure that it's accessible. Make sure that you as a community can function. They don't care about jobs in your community. I'm getting a lot of commentary on employment, so listen carefully. If you have any trades that you know, get tools, get your tools, implement them. Make your money. You need cash. Pretty soon, since your government has been too focused on the corruption and the bullshit that's going on in our nation right now, your economy is collapsing right from under you. Big corporations that you may have worked for, if you're in the union, for example, they packed it up and moved to China, Japan, Russia, Europe, and England, and Australia, etc. Everywhere else but here, because we are not focused. Because your federal level is way too busy trying to clean up the fucking mess that they've let spill out all over the place last week, on top of the COVID pandemic. So get your trades up and learn how to function on your own. This is a big deal because if it hasn't hit your community yet, it's hit mine already. So you need to hear it now. You don't have a leadership anymore, and there might not be no coming back from this unless we function as a society to come up with a better way of living and leading a society of our magnitude and population with the problems that we have. So if you like what you hear, just put it in an email and share it to your people. Don't like it or share it, because I don't want YouTube administration ripping this down, because again, as much as you enjoy your social media and you use your social media, they don't like people like me. Or if you like this, people like you. They don't like people that think for themselves, because people that think for themselves, that's more power in the community for the person that can think for themselves. And people won't follow the corruption anymore. That's what government in America has been about for a very long time. You just haven't been able to see it because 30 years ago, my era, it wasn't as big as it is now, and it wasn't as exposed as it is now either. So please be cautious on your travels. Be careful, learn your community. Get to know your community's law enforcement as well, because there's been a lot of reporting to my channel about not only police brutality, but a lot of other shit. And you need to be aware of that. Get some police scanners. Listen to the cops in your area, because you need to know where you're living and how it's doing. Peace.